does happen.
Well, we're not going to see what most people are expecting. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that, because most people looking at the weights and saying, oh, they're too far apart. Canelo is too big. No, we're not going to see what y'all think we're going to see. We're going to see a...
Canelo, what did you think about the shove and that moment that happened on stage?
Oh, I'm turning on right now.
Right? Yeah. Did it make you want to go harder for the 13?
I don't know, but made me feel more excited.
I love it.
I'm gonna train so far.
Roy Jones just finished training with Crawford, and from what he can tell, Canelo is going to sleep. This is not a casual observation, but rather the judgment of one of boxing's finest tacticians after watching Terence Crawford jonnered up close sparring. Moving, hitting, adjusting. Jones got to see how much weight Crawford has put on and how much the weight has affected him, but after the session, he admitted that Crawford's power and speed, he believes Crawford has all the tools of knocking Canelo out, seen it all, but what he saw in Crawford was different. He didn't hesitate to say that Crawford, already elite, is still sharpening his tools for a fighter that already sits at the top of the pound-for-pound list. That kind of refinement is dangerous. Roy didn't just say platitudes, he described what he witnessed, and he thinks Canelo won't be able to handle it. Roy knows what it takes to leap divisions and make history.
On the streets, you and Canelo, what would it look like?
Come on, man. Yeah, I know what I do. I ain't got to talk about it. On the streets, I'm me against anybody. I ain't never going to say another man going to whoop me. So, you know what I mean? That's your answer right there.
I guess in Guadalajara, you think it'd be a little different on the streets if Terence came to town?
I think every city, every place is different, no? It's different. But we're not talking about the streets. We're talking about boxing.
Roy Jones' tone adds even more pressure to a fight that was already being viewed as one of the decade's defining moments. Crawford is not easing into the spotlight. He is charging right in, bringing the fires with him. That was evident when Canelo Alvarez recently requested that their fight be held in a smaller ring. It was a clear attempt to limit Crawford's movement, most likely anticipating that Bud would prefer to box and use angles rather than stand still and trade with someone naturally heavier. But instead of deflecting or brushing it off, Crawford lit the fuse and fired right back.
Back and forwards, to be honest with you. Like, when I talk to Bud, kind of like, he convinces me that he's going to win the fight because he's such a believer in his own ability and he's very convincing. And then you see the presser yesterday and I thought Canelo looked really well. Do you know what I mean? And obviously he's a big lump, so I was always Canelo, then I sort of leant towards Bud, but now I'm back with Canelo, so we'll see.
Crawford stated during a recent news conference that the only running he will be doing is upside his head, and he has a huge head. It was a clean shot, more humorous than aggressive, but full of purpose. Crawford was not going to avoid the topic of aggression. In fact, he flipped the storyline. Crawford did not dismiss the idea of a smaller ring. Rather, he accepted the challenge and stated his intentions unequivocally. He went on to say, "I'm hunting him. I'm looking for whatever he is, and I plan to take it on September 13th.
The era that surpassed us, you know, the Floyd, the Pacquiao, the De La Hoya. We both came up in that era, and he was right there with those fighters, and he got the chance to fight the Miguel Cottos, the Floyd Mayweathers, and you know, the Kovalevs and Triple G's, and I wasn't able to get those mega fights, you know. So this is my mega fight. This is my moment, and that's the reason why I want to fight an all-time great like Canelo.
These are not merely big words. They are determined by someone who has never been on the losing side. Crawford has an impressive 41 wins with 31 knockouts, is a 4-weight world champion, and just added a super welterweight belt to his collection after beating Israel Madrimov. That was a unanimous decision win. Yes, but it added another division to his burgeoning legacy. Now he's moving up to weight classes, aiming straight at the undisputed champion in the fifth. Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez is coming off one of his least impressive performances. His unanimous decision win over William Skull was mediocre at best.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat.
Over 12 rounds, The two threw a total of 445 punches, a record low for a big title fight. It wasn't simply uneventful, it was the type of showing that begs questions, not about Canelo's past, which is littered with stunning wins, but about his present. He is no longer the aggressive counterpuncher who hunts opponents with innovative pressure. Against Skull, he was flat and risk-averse, almost like a fighter who was more concerned with staying sharp than dealing harm.
Terence Crawford, does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo?
I think if anybody has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford wins. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses. Terence Crawford, when he went up against the best opposition, like Earl Spence, he showed what level he's on, what type of dog he is. So I don't know. You really have to let these fights play out to see what happens. He might get hurt. That might activate him to come back strong.
Could you still make 68?
I don't want to make 68.
No, I know you don't. Terence wins 68.
Yeah, well, if that's, yeah, I can make 160.
That is a risky version of Canelo to bring into a fight with Crawford, who thrives on opponents who sit still or slow down. Crawford's approach is reactive, precise, and venomous when triggered by Canelo being even half a step behind or unable to throw heavy volume, but will not hesitate to win. But it is no longer only about style matchups. The build-up to this battle has accelerated with each press appearance in New York. Crawford approached Canelo on stage, and things quickly escalated. Canelo answered by shoving him, which caused both entourages to rise and security to interfere. This wasn't scripted theater, it was raw, passionate, and uncensored. There's real friction here, spurred by opposing personalities and decades of custom colliding.
It's cool. Well,
is there a champion?
I'm going to fight another elite
there is
fighter
a champions, good fighters, but elite fighters is different.
So
wait.
So I'm going to fight an elite fighter in September.
Yeah, okay.
Then we're
going to find out.
Then we're going to find out.
And don't get me wrong, you're a great fighter.
I know I'm great.
You're a great fighter, but are you gonna find out? I hope your uncle Turki Alashi pay you enough money, because it's gonna be the last. That's for sure.
It may be. Maybe.
I hope he pay you enough.
But you know, after fighters fight me, they never the same. So I just hope your career continue.
If you look at my career, it never.
Both men have won for weight categories, are uncontested champions, and plan to leave Las Vegas on September 13th with more than just another title. Crawford sees this as a chance to be immortalized, to clear any remaining concerns, and to elevate his status above even the most recognized welterweights and lightweights in history. Canelo, with his 63 record and 39 knockouts on February 2nd, is trying to quell speculation that he is past his prime.
In boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, you know, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you can't count him out. You know what I'm saying?
Bernard Hopkins, another legend who has previously worked closely with Canelo, especially during the Golden Boy era, first believed Crawford's challenge to Canelo was foolish. That's ridiculous, he noted. That's why we have weight classes. He went on to question Crawford's motivation, even suggesting that the fight could be dangerous for him physically.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much.
However, Hopkins has since entirely flipped his stance, stating in a more recent interview that Crawford has a legitimate shot, set it at 85%. That isn't cautious confidence, it's near certainty. He isn't going in there to prove anything. Hopkins claimed that he is going in to show that Canelo's time is past. This kind of turnaround from someone as rigorous and skeptical as Hopkins says something, he isn't easily influenced by hype. He studies the technicals, and if he sees Crawford establishing the tone early and consistently, he thinks that will be enough for Canelo, who is accustomed to dictating the tempo. This is a real problem.
He hopes you don't run. And Turki has a knockout bonus in this fight.
And there seems to be something out there like the way for you to win this fight is to move, move, move. Is that true?
Listen.
Turkey, you need to put a small ring, the smaller ring in the...
The only...
And then there's the added incentive, a huge bonus. His Excellency Turki Alalshik, one of the fight's main sponsors, said that the event would include a sizable incentive for anyone who gets a knockout. He did not divulge the amount, but he made it clear that this battle needed to be finished, not just for legacy or belts, but also for spectacle. This is more than simply a boxing match, it's part of the sport's bigger transformation as it starts to meld into the entertainment landscape, with Saudi influence, cross-promotional funding, and production values on par with UFC cards. Turkey also said that the victor will receive the most costly Ring Magazine belt ever constructed, which is made by a British business that specializes in custom pieces for royalty and military awards. This is not your normal memento, it's a statement piece of fine gold, expert craftsmanship, and a representation of who dominates the era.
It would be a disappointment if this did normal boxing numbers, you know, and let's be real, you know what Jake Paul is gonna say. He already shitted on this fight. Don't let the numbers not come anywhere close to his numbers with Tyson, and it's gonna be all bad. Would it even matter if Bud and Canelo didn't do the numbers of Jake and Tyson? Or is that an indictment on the sport that, it's just showing what our fan base prefers, right?
And to dominate this time, Canelo will have to stop a fighter who is not just increasing his weight but also adding speed, timing, ring IQ, and an intangible level of confidence. Crawford isn't stepping up to test his luck. He's moving up because he thinks he deserves to claim the throne. That mindset is supported not only by fans and the media, but also by fighters such as Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins, whose names carry generations of wisdom. Crawford knows that the fans may not be on his side. Canelo is extremely popular, especially in Las Vegas, but Crawford has also accepted this fact. "I want all of the folks in the stands to boo me," he stated. "They're going to cry when they get home."
You need to put a small ring, the smaller ring in the...
Hey, Matt. Yeah. The only running that I'm gonna be doing is running upside his head, and I can assure you that. Facts. And he got a big head too.
It's the kind of statement that lives in highlight reels if it comes true. If he wins, especially by knockout, Crawford's name will immediately leapfrog into any top 10 conversation for all-time greats. He would be a 5-way champion, beating a naturally bigger fighter while still undefeated and without the backing of a promotional machine as big as Canelo's. Canelo, for his part, needs to find that urgency again. He cannot afford to be as passive as he was against Skull Hicano.
The thing is, on Terence Crawford's side, all the legacy, meaning he only has the opportunity to win the belts. Saul only has an opportunity to defend them. Terence Crawford has an opportunity to be in a 5 division and the only person to win all 4 belts in 3 separate weight divisions. Why is Saul taking this fight? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's some things in life more important than just the belts. And that 20-year career that Terence Crawford made, that all that he has, is very valuable. Very, very valuable. He had 1 foot out the game.
Floyd Mayweather's name has never been far from the conversation when Canelo Alvarez joins a high-profile battle, and his next fight with Terence Crawford is no exception. The Mexican star's 2013 loss to Mayweather remains the only fight in his career in which he was tactically outclassed bell to bell. Even though it was officially recorded as a majority decision, it's a memory that still haunts Canelo, and this time he's decided to use it to draw a sharp contrast between his past and his current challenge. In his own words, Canelo enraged boxing fans and fighters by claiming that Crawford, not Mayweather, is the better boxer. "I believe Crawford outperforms Mayweather because he is more intelligent and keeps his guard up on both sides. I believe he is better than Floyd Mayweather," Canelo stated. It was a bold remark, clearly meant to raise the stakes of his next bout, but it also reverberated across the boxing world, especially among those closest to Floyd.
Canelo couldn't knock out Charlo. Do you really think that he's gonna knock out Crawford? would pick Terrence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at 168. Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way. I know a secret y'all don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terrence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fight. So
Jeffrey Mayweather, Flo's uncle and long-standing boxing boss, was quick to react, pointing out what he viewed as Canelo's strategic messaging, a premeditated attempt to portray his next opponent as superior to the one who defeated him years before. Maybe Crawford is better, Jeff said. But one thing is that you'll always say that someone who has already defeated you is better than the guy you're fighting because he wants to make it appear like he's going to beat someone who is better than everyone. When asked by an interviewer if Floyd was in his prime when he met Canelo while Canelo was still green, Jeff went on to say more. Jeff shot back strongly. He had more fights than Floyd and lost to a 36-year-old man. Jeff stated, "You're not in your prime when you're 36. That is your prime. You're in your peak in your 20s." The point was more than just facts, it was about narrative. Jeff thinks Canelo is trying to rewrite the memory of his loss by emphasizing Crawford's stature and saying Crawford is the greater fighter. Canelo tacitly supports Mayweather's failure while emphasizing the importance of the next test in order to make himself look like he defeated someone greater than Floyd. Jeff said of course he's going to say all these beautiful things about him, and it makes him bigger than he is, but although the back and forth over Mayweather's legacy adds a fascinating flavor to the build-up, what lies ahead for Canelo? Something far more important. Terrence Crawford is more than just a talking point. He is an unmatched generational technician with the versatility that even top-tier trainers struggle to understand. One of them is Crawford's head trainer, Brian Bomack McIntyre, who has stated clearly that no ring size, politics, or commotion surrounding Mayweather will matter when the bell rings on September 13th. I stated before that he's a fantastic fighter, but if you look at his career, name one exceptional fighter. Just give me one elite fighter, and Posta isn't elite. Bomack expects a tough fight early on, but nothing Crawford hasn't faced before. The first several games will be tough. He told Boxing King Media that Terrence will figure it out, and we will likely stop him in the late rounds. I know we will win. The plan is simple. Let Canelo swing and power through the early rounds, but as soon as that gas tank runs low, Crawford will close in. Bomack's trust comes not from hype, but from patterns. Crawford is famed for reading opponents like a book by the third or fourth round, and he has proven this over and again. His battle against Errol Spence in 2023 finished in a nasty stoppage, prompting many to reconsider their pound-for-pound rankings. However, when Crawford went up to 150 and met Israel Madrimov, things changed slightly.
Canelo, and he fights at 168 plus, so I don't see me and him fighting. So,
what's the highest you could fight at realistically?
I would say 154 realistically.
154.
You know,
So
them boys get big up there. Them boys get big up there. And I'm not a person to, toot my own horn too.
Bomack admits the fight was tricky. Crawford fought with Madrimov's erratic style, which involved jumping stances, darting in and out, and interrupting rhythms. Crawford was particularly battered in the 12th round, when he received many crisp right hands. Some even thought that the fight should have ended in a draw. Bomack did not reject the problem, but he did point out a major difference. Madrimov used a Turkish style, but Canelo joins the fight. The message is simple. Canelo may be more dangerous in terms of power, but he is less awkward and slippery, giving Crawford a clear path to carry out his plan. Bomack feels that if Crawford avoids trading early, opportunities will show themselves later. It's a subtle, slow approach, but it could pay off. Albeit patience may not be the most rewarded characteristic in this specific situation. Turki Alshik, the power broker who made the bout possible, has stated that he wants action. He does not want Crawford to move around the ring all night dodging contact. He wants a fight. Crawford's club has been forced to strike a balance between tactical discipline and entertainment value, and risk has entered the equation. Timothy Bradley, a former world champion and respected pundit, gave a stark warning. Do not be struck by Canelo. Bradley told Crawford in a YouTube post to avoid unnecessary chin testing. We do not need to see your toughness. but rather your genius.
What all these streamers and these other YouTube guys, they didn't turn boxing into it's like a comedian show. It's just putting anybody in the ring. So Crawford and Canelo, good thing that fight is coming, because it's kind of put some kind of legitimacy back to
Bradley admitted what many are thinking. Crawford will have to stand in the pocket at times, if only to meet Turkey's demands and the general spectacle of the night, which presents problems. Can Crawford handle Canelo's power versus Madrimov? He's shown his ability to take clean blows and recover. But Canelo, even after his explosive heyday, still possesses knockout power, especially to the body. A well-placed hook might change the entire course of the fight, but do you see it the same way? Please share your ideas below, and subscribe for future updates.